All right, it is
Oh,
now time for the Week 14 final week of the regular season fantasy show. After missing last week due to Thanksgiving, we are back, and we
we're
have a
back.
lot to discuss as it is heating up for the final week of the regular season. Some people have already punched their ticket to the playoffs. Some other teams are looking for a win in Week 14 to do that. But real quickly, let's look what happened last week in Week 13. It was a big week for a lot of teams. A lot of teams got eliminated. Their hopes and dreams were crushed last week. Starting with myself in the matchup versus Rat. Not particularly close, 151 to 108. Rat's team performed very well. My team did not. Just kind of summed up the struggle to the end of my regular season, falling to 5-8, and now I've lost 5 straight games. Horrible
Hmm.
end to the season
That is
as
just awful.
I was right there, had 4 wins, was four and
You
four,
hate to
four
see
and
it,
three,
Duffer.
and then a horrible losing streak to end the back half of my season. Every season, it seems like there's one team that starts out good at the beginning of the season and then fades and misses the playoffs, and this year it was my team for sure. Um, Definitely will be some players I will not be drafting next year that did not perform. Fat Diarrhea just continued to be diarrhea the
Whoa.
second half of the season. Garrett Wilson, who looked good for a while there, has completely fallen off a cliff. I did get Mike Evans back, and he's been doing good, but that ain't enough to save the season. CeeDee Lamb as well. Basically, when all those players fell to horrible situations, that's when my season started going south. So a little bit unfortunate with Dak getting hurt and with Rodgers being complete ass and with the 49ers just being complete ass this year. I did not expect the 49ers to fall off a cliff this season, but they did. GG's to Rat though. He said he was going to put up a big performance and get his revenge and break the 3-0 streak I had, and he did. His team performed very well. Josh Allen had a huge game with that crazy ass touchdown pass that is a touchdown reception that I still don't understand how that scores that way, but GG's to him. It's running backs though, I guess if you're nitpicking Rat's team for playoffs, the Kenneth Walker is not looking as great as he's probably wanting him to, but maybe he can turn it around for the playoffs. One thing about Seattle, they are right in the mix to win that division, so they're going to be playing some meaningful games where he'll have chances to pop off. Nico Collins looked good. T. Higgins had a nice game, and obviously Brock Bowers. Rat's team goes through Bowers. If he has a 30-point game, he's probably going to win every playoff game. So we'll see what happens with all that. Also, Amari Cooper, that's got to be a slight concern. So him and Walker are definitely guys that are going to need to turn it around if Rat's going to want to go all the way and win a championship. Rat, your comments, you've almost all but surely, by a grace of a miracle, locked up your playoff spot with that win due to your points for, which we'll talk about in the scenarios, but you're pretty much for sure in. Your comments after that big win last week.
I finally beat the curse. No
Yep,
more losing to golfer. And
until next year.
look, Kenneth Walker and Amari Cooper have looked questionable since that trade. I mean, but they're still the ones playing this season, and the guy I traded for in CMC is
Yep, that is true.
is Dunzo meat. He's Dunzo.
Yep. Yep, that is true. The trade definitely, even if the players aren't performing that much, at least they're healthy bodies that you can start. Where McCaffrey is now done for the season. So I'd say you definitely won that trade just based off the McCaffrey injury. But yeah, anybody else want to make any comments on this matchup?
I think Rad's team is finally
Dog
healthy,
shit.
finally
Okay.
getting there.
Okay.
The only worry is once everybody's actually healthy, will he start the right people?
Okay.
Uh, and then, yeah, Amari Cooper is looking
Well,
like
I
a big
mean,
boomer
he's
bust
what?
type of
He's got
guy.
to decide between Devonte Smith and
Well,
Brian
and
Robinson.
Robinson or Higgins each week. Like,
No,
yeah.
Higgins is going to be there every week. It's
okay,
more of
so
Brian
But
Robinson
I
than
Robinson,
also,
Devontae Smith.
maybe you might have to bench Cooper if he keeps
Yeah,
putting up
might.
these type of games.
yeah, I just think the Reds team, like I said this a couple weeks ago, when fully healthy, it's good. But like,
Yeah. Well, he got
will
into
get
the
in?
playoffs
Will they
dodging.
stay healthy? Who knows if everyone tears their hamstrings again next week?
Oh my God.
Very injury
Okay.
prone. I'm just saying it's very injury prone players on there.
Okay. All right. All right. Moving on to the second matchup of last week, we saw an upset of the week.
Yep.
Matt takes down Cheese. Hurts
Was it
his
really an
chances a
upset?
little bit of getting a bye. He still controls his fate, kind of. But if he would have beat Matt and took care of business, he'd be in a much stronger position to get that bye. So Matt, 134 to 117, a good week for Matt. Doesn't quite clinch that last place position. It's kind of a long stretch, but we'll talk about how he could somehow avoid that last place punishment. But Richardson had a nice game for once. Henry didn't do too much, but DJ Moore came alive for Matt, so that was big. And Mark Andrews and Thielen had huge games for Matt. That's kind of all he needed was those four guys putting up 20 plus points. On Cheese's side, Jaden Daniels though looked really good, so that was a good sight to see. I guess you could say the one down game for the Lions boys. I say they're an automatic combined 30 every week, but they did not hit that this week, only 25. So interesting. Gibbs wasn't that involved. We'll see. If lost a fumble, we'll see what happens. Zay Flowers continues to just be the ultimate boom or bust player this year. So Cheese is going to need him to boom in the playoffs if he wants to have a chance to go back to back. Achane, though, continued his good thing. Shakir and Kittle kind of let Cheese down. He might have been able to squeak out a win this week if they had better performances. But yeah, Cheese, your comments now. You've fallen to 8-5, still in a decent position.
Look,
Obviously, you're in the playoffs, but
Matt had a good week. I can't complain. It's like one of the Ernie weeks where I put up 150 and lose, so didn't really deserve it this week.
Okay.
But
that's honest of you for once.
I mean, the snow game, I think I agree. If it wasn't a snow game, maybe we could have gotten like.
Oh, shut
I
up.
don't
Your
know
team
about that.
sucks.
The 49ers are ass.
They still throw to Kittle a lot. They do spam the run because of the snow.
Yeah.
I think the snow game didn't help. Okay, I think everyone agreed it didn't help. Look, it was a rare down game, but we faced some tough defenses. Especially for my wide receivers, all faced some tough defenses this week. So, hopefully, some better game scripts for them, and we still get that bye this week. I still have to win though. I can't just get gifted the bye. I got to win. So.
Yep, that is true.
And I think if I win, I should be good.
Your team is ass.
I beat you, didn't I, Zach? Scoreboard
Team
buddy.
Look,
sucks.
all these guys on Cheese's team have hamstring injuries and can get hurt throughout the
I'm Pink
playoffs.
Rat, and I have 0 playoff wins ever.
I mean, DK Metcalf
Stay in the
does fall.
playoffs, buddy.
DK Metcalf falls into that category of what Rat's saying. Every week he leaves the game at some point with some type of injury.
Yeah, but
so.
DK Metcalf only actually misses games if it's real serious.
Well, he has missed some this year, so.
Yeah, but that must have been real bad. T. Higgins,
Well,
his ankle hurts a little bit. He's gone.
He's been playing lately and playing pretty well, so we'll see. All right, moving on to another big matchup of last week that sealed another team's fate. I was eliminated from the playoffs last week, and so was Ernie, as Zach took Ernie behind the woodshed as well, similar to me versus
what's his
Red
team name
Score.
say?
Ohio Choke University. Well, the difference was Ernie's team was Choke University this whole season. At least Ohio State will still be in the playoff, unlike Ernie this season. 161 to 108, as Zach's team had a monster week, and Zach's team is making a statement that he ain't talked about a lot, but his team is one to be reckoned with in the playoffs. Lemar is having just a unbelievable season and a great fantasy pick, especially over Mahomes this season. Chase Brown, great trade for Zach, taking advantages of buys and getting a good player for the playoffs. Taylor had an okay week. Tyreek Hill finally showed up. If Tyreek Hill's putting up 20 each week for Zach in the playoffs, he's going to be a hard team to beat with the other players around him. Really, the only downside to Zach's team was Chuba Hubbard. And then, obviously, he was deciding between Chubb or Judy when he only needed 4 points on Monday Night Football. He went with Judy, and boy, did that pay off. 40 huge points.
Judy.
It was a revenge game against the Broncos. He did not get the win, though.
It was a revenge game against
He did not get the
Ernie.
win, so he can hold that L, Jerry Judy. You were mid-game as you were popping off, talking shit to the crowd. Well, they got the last laugh because your Browns still lost the fucking game, even though you had 235 yards. No, I'm talking about Judy. The only downside, I guess you could say, from Zach's team last week, besides Chuba not doing much, was Justin Tucker, the end of an era. Zach's boy, Justin Tucker, for so many years.
Yeah.
The end of the era came when he missed a bunch of extra points and field goals once again, and Zach dropped him afterwards. So.
Finally dropped him.
On Ernie's side, Barkley tried to give him another chance. He tried to give him another chance to keep Ernie in it. It was looking a little close at one point, and then McCaffrey just totally ended. I mean, you can't sum up a better script any better where Rat drafts McCaffrey #1 overall, holds him the whole year. He turns out to be a bust. He trades him away at the right time, though, it looks like. And then Ernie has some hope where, with his points for, if he could just win out, he could get in. And then McCaffrey goes out and gets hurt early in the game and ends Ernie's chances of possibly. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered because Jerry Jeudy was going to end Ernie, but it could have been close
Jerry
if
Jeudy.
McCaffrey would have played a full game and got decent points. Other than
Wasn't
that,
that
you know,
close,
Ridley
buddy.
continued to do a thing where he either booms or busts. Kyle Pitts dropped a goose egg, another boomer bust player.
Ooh.
Kamara really slowed down towards the end of the season, didn't get the touchdowns like he did early in the season. And, I mean, this Ernie season, and I'm sure he might agree, it was just summed up with a three-headed power running back trio, but then the wide receiver core was two boomer bust between Pitts, Ridley. You had to start MVS this week. I mean,
Got a touchdown.
Lad McConkey was really all season Ernie's only kind of somewhat productive, consistent wide receiver. The rest were so boomer bust. And then Mahomes, 16 points is okay, but
But it ain't no Lemar.
He needed 20 plus, which Mahomes I think only got 20 plus like one time all season, I believe.
Yeah, against
Or
me.
two times.
You
times.
hate to see that.
Week
Jeez.
9, I believe that was against me, and then week against Cheese in week 12. So not good enough for Mahomes where you drafted him. Overall, Ernie, rough season. You're on the beach now with me. Ernie had been saying how this is the only league he's really, really trying in to win because he wants to win it so bad, but he's not even going to get a chance to win it as he misses the playoffs. And at the hands of Zach, nonetheless. Zach, your comments after taking Ernie behind the woodshed, your good friend Ernie, and ending his season.
It really sucks to see that he's not taking this win gracefully.
Oh.
I mean, this loss gracefully.
Oh.
We
Why, he
haven't
hasn't
heard him
responded to
talk
you?
since I believe that Jeudy touchdown. He left the chat. It's just something you don't want to see.
Yeah.
When you lose a league, you like to have some respect and say what you have to say.
Opponent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like I was very respectful as he beat me earlier in the year, but you know what? The same
It's kind of
side
like
does
you
not show.
beat him so bad, you planted the flag on the middle of his field, and instead of him fighting back with mace, he just
let it happen.
like a little bitch and just cried in the corner.
Is that in reference to anything in particular there?
Nope, nothing at all.
Okay.
But GG Zach, as I'm saying, you haven't got talked a lot about this season for a threat, but I think you're definitely one to watch for.
Sneaky pick.
Your team is
People
trending
don't give me
up.
that respect.
Yeah, your team is trending up at the right time. You made some good moves towards the end of the season. I mean, Sutton has been very good since he's come over. Hubbard had a nice game, then a bad game, and Jerry Jeudy's been very good. I mean, you got options too on the bench with Jameson Williams, who can have some boom weeks. Nick Chubb's been okay. So I mean, it's a pretty solid team. I'll give you credit this season. You've definitely bounced. You definitely over redeemed yourself from your disaster season last year.
You know what, Golfer? I forgive you from those comments earlier in the season where you were talking shit on my team.
That wasn't quite
Zach
true.
a priest? Zach a fucking priest?
But from
what are you trying to say,
worst
Pusa?
to possibly first, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. It could be from worst to first. You have a chance. All right, moving on to the next matchup of last week. We saw Pook come in and just end Tyler's season as well. As I said, a lot of carnage last week as a lot of seasons were ended. As Tyler falls to 5-8 as well, 156 to 122. Decent score from Tyler, but nowhere near enough as Pook's team took him down. Josh Jacobs and Bijan both had huge games. Scary Terry had a monster game for Daniels. Jefferson had a nice game as well. Laporto, he started, had a good game. Really, Demario Douglas was the only one on Pook's team that didn't get in double-digit points. On Tyler's side, it's been all season long, mediocre quarterback play from Tyler. That's what you get when you don't draft better than average quarterback, so you kind of take the good weeks with the bad with Geno Smith. This was one of the bad. Mixon, though, was kind of a big bright spot for Tyler's season, as Mixon's been pretty good when he's been healthy all season long. But then it wasn't enough as he needed Amon-Ra to have a huge game, and he really didn't. Nakua, though, was a nice pickup, and Jigba all season was pretty nice pickups, but not quite good enough for Tyler this season. He just suffered too many losses early in the season. Took him too long to start peaking upward, and once he started peaking, he pretty much had to win out, and he just couldn't do it as he ran into a buzzsaw and Pook this week. So Pook locks up his playoff spot with this victory, so GG's to Pook. You can't ever keep him out of the playoffs. He's been in the playoffs every year that I've been in this damn league. Just one year I'd like to see Pook have a horrible season, but it just doesn't happen. So credit to him. And he's definitely one to watch for in the playoffs, assuming he sets his alarm. But so we'll see if that happens. Anybody want to make any comments on either of these two teams?
I think it was a valiant effort from Tyler.
Yeah.
To make a
Crawled
stage
out of the bottom.
comeback.
Yep.
I think he got very unlucky with some injuries early in the year, and a lot of his players need some time to cook and get ready, and that cost him some matchups. But I think it was a good effort. Pook is a bitch for not trading me Terry.
Wow.
Well,
you
but
didn't give
he
in to
does
his
have a
rape.
strong team. He didn't even offer me. I said I'd give him whatever he wanted, and he was like, "Nope."
Because he didn't want you to have the stack, which is proving to be a good move because he does that 27 and Dan does that 27.
But as I didn't say, but Zach's teams, a lot of teams popping off right now.
Yeah.
So that I think that buy is pretty important. So at least some of those teams get weeded out after the first round.
Yes. The buy obviously is going to be massive.
A lot of teams are kind of peaking right now, and the playoffs, like you have to be peaking, but also you got to get lucky. So if I can avoid those and have my team pop off when it matters, we'll see.
I'll make a comment.
Okay.
Rat could get the buy too, or Rat could ruin my buy. But Pook gets the buy, that could be an issue. If
I
Zach
can't.
gets the buy, he could go far.
There's 4 people that could get the buy.
I'll take anybody to win the league but Pook or Zombie, please. Everybody
Wait,
unite.
you're hoping that happens, or
He
you
wants
think
everybody
that's
but
gonna...
them. Everybody
That
but
sounded like you were just
Everybody
hoping
but
that
them.
happens.
Everybody but
So that's
them.
who you're rooting for. Anybody but them.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Even Cheese back to back.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, strong words.
I hope somebody close to me wins, so I don't have to pay a lot of shipping if I lose.
Oh. Okay. Well, you don't pay the shipping. The person that wins pays the shipping if they want you to send them the trophy.
No, last place.
Well, if Pook wins, I'll
Not
drive it
anymore.
to him.
We changed the rule this year. We're doing rings now, and that's what the last place person pays for.
If Pook wins, I will
Shipping
drive
of
it.
the trophy is up to the person that wins the league.
We did rings this year. What in the gay fucking
and the ring you
ass
keep
is
forever.
that?
It's your own personalized
If
championship
Rat
ring.
wins, I will drive it to him. If Pook wins, I will drive it to him.
Wow, that's nice
if
of you.
Zach wins, I will throw it in the
Drive it?
river. If,
Wow. Oh my god. Okay.
if anybody further away wins, ship it will be shipped.
But if I win, I'll come
Alright.
to you fucking
All right. Well, we have quite a few. We have pretty much all. We have a lot of the playoff teams in the thing tonight. So is anybody here worried about Pook's team in the playoffs?
Hell no. Look at his flex. Look at his flex. He used to Mary Douglas as one of the players that he used to rely on.
I think
Jake Ferguson, look. He does
Yeah.
not have a.
Okay,
a-
so Rat's not. All right.
I think Pook's team is reliant on Jacobs and Robinson popping off,
Okay.
and Terry, 3 players.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think
Jay,
if-
you're
'cause
forgetting
Jeff-
about JJ.
Yeah, because he's been ass.
dangerous.
Okay.
He hasn't been ass. He's been way better than a lot of the first round
Look
picks.
at his first 5 games.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's slowed
And
down. Yeah.
After about game.
He's just not getting touchdowns. He
the
hasn't had a
last month,
touchdown
he's been
since
kinda
week
mid.
7. That's
Look,
the
I think
problem.
Pook's team, I think similar to mine, is very top
He's
heavy.
still the 3rd-ranked wide receiver.
All I'm saying is I think if those guys would have with me this week, if they have even a little bit, less than what is expected, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're
if
going to
his
have to
flex
score a lot of
people can
points in
hold
the
up.
playoffs if you want to win. I have a
so I
feeling.
don't think these 120 wins can happen anymore.
Okay.
I think he needs this.
So
He
you're
needs, this
worried.
week.
So you're worried about Pook, or you aren't?
I think depending on the matchups, it's a very strong competitor.
Okay. So you are if the matchups are good. Okay. Rat's not. Pusa?
I ain't worried about him.
You're not worried about him. Okay. Zach? Pook is your kryptonite, so you might want to be worried about.
I'm more worried about Bill than him.
I don't think Zach is wanting to face Pook in the playoffs. He's not going to say
I'm worried
that.
about how last place is going to pay for my shipping.
They're not. They're paying for your ring, if you get it.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Can
Moving
I decline
on.
the ring?
Moving
take the
on.
money?
to the next matchup of last week. We saw Slaps keep his season alive with a monster win over Zombie, 140 to 114. A lot of people, including myself, ruled him dead a long time ago, and ever since that rant where he joined the fantasy show for 30 minutes and ranted about his team and how doom and gloom it was, ever since then it has turned around big time. It's like they all listened to his doom and gloom and said, you know what, we're going to show our owner that we can perform, because they have ever since then been popping off with some big numbers.
Slaps team had a players only meeting.
Yeah, they did after that. 7-6 now. What a turnaround for Slaps, although he is not in the playoffs yet. He was doing the dangerous thing of talking this past week in the group chat about what a crazy comeback story this is when he has not completed the comeback story. I tried to tell him, if you miss the playoffs, if you end up missing the playoffs, all that is for nothing, and it's not called a comeback. So you might not want to talk until you take care
That'll
of business.
be a story
next week.
forever.
But on Zombie side, big loss for him. It really puts him in a tough spot at 6-7. Although his matchup next week, which we'll get into in a minute, is favorable, he now has to win if he wants to get in. If he loses, he is out. So he's in a tough spot. Tough loss for him, as I'm sure he was hoping to beat Slaps to put him in a much better position. But Kyron, Rico, Dowdle had a huge game for Slaps. It seems like lately anybody that Slaps plays that's questionable has a big game, and that's part of the reason you win games is you start guys that are a little bit iffy and they pop off for you. And Rico Dowdle's one of them. Jaden Reed had a nice game in that trade. Although J.K. All Day is now on injured reserve, so part of that trade has been okay. The other part has been a disaster. But if Rico Dowdle can keep having some nice games, then maybe that can succumb the J.K. All Day. He does have Najee, who he put on the bench this week, and he had 24 huge points, so I'm sure he'll be starting him next week. But it didn't cost him because Dowdle had a nice game. Hawkinson hasn't really gotten going yet, so maybe he can get going for the playoffs. We'll see. Keenan Allen had a nice game. Pickens continues to look really good with Russ. So overall, I don't think it's the most dangerous team in the playoffs, assuming he makes it. I think, it's a great comeback story. He'll probably lose in the first round if he makes the playoffs. But nonetheless, getting to the playoffs from where Slaps' team was earlier in the season, it would be a great comeback for Slaps, assuming he can get in.
I want to
Go ahead, Rat.
The most disgusting thing was Slaps beating me 4 weeks ago. Or 5 weeks ago, and this guy's on the goddamn 5-game winning streak.
Yep.
Everybody shit on me for losing to him, and then 5 straight people lost to him. This guy can't be.
When you lost to him, his team was in shambles.
Sucks, but
his team has gotten better and better as the weeks
how
have
we
gone.
let his team get better.
What do you mean? He made some great trades.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he got his team better and better after beating you.
Game fucking players.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But when he faced you, his team was not good. It was in shambles.
I know.
So anybody, I guess Zombie. Anybody want to make any comments on Zombie?
His team's dog shit too.
Zombie's team is collapsing.
I think we can all agree the huge move at number 2 to take Breece Hall has been a disaster pick. Shocker. The running back
picks have been
taken earlier than normal was not working.
Zombie, you can pay directly to Ernie the $100.
Oh, you guys had a bet?
Outchain outscored Breece Hall.
Have fun with Mac Jones as your Brian Thomas quarterback.
Breece Hall might not even play this week, so you can pay Ernie directly. I'm not getting involved with that.
Okay. All right. And Zombie put in Njoku on the bench who had 26
I will say one
huge
thing.
points.
I clowned on Drake London. Drake London's been pretty good.
Yeah, Drake London's been a solid. That was one of the early picks that I questioned from Zombie, besides the Breece Hall one, of course.
And the Brian Thomas. I think I think Zombie started well, but he didn't make enough trades to supplement his team. He kind of let it shake out.
Yeah,
interesting take,
I think Zombie's running backs have underproduced big time compared to what he thought they were going to do.
Like
Neighbors, who looked like a world beater the first few weeks of the season, he probably could have traded him high.
He went to the Travis Scott concert.
And instead, he didn't trade him high, and then he started getting injuries and hasn't been nearly as good as that first start of the season. So you're right, Cheese. He had some... And then Puka Nacua taking over kind of the number 1 wide receiver for the Rams over Cooper Kupp. That doesn't help Zombie either. But still a chance to make the playoffs despite what we're saying. And if he gets
He's
in,
making
you
it.
never know what happens if he gets in. So we'll see. But GG's to Slaps on the victory. And then the final matchup of last week, we saw Pusa take down Bill. Everybody kind of predicted this was
Oh.
going to happen, and it did. 139 to
That's an
103.
upset.
Bill continuing to struggle down the stretch here and not trending in the right direction. Heading into the playoffs, we'll see if he makes it. It is not a lock by far. He's going to have a tough road if he doesn't win next week, but we'll see if he can get in. It's really been running back's been a problem for Bill with injuries. Gervonta doesn't look good this week. Kyler Murray just did okay. And then the wide receivers, the Tank Dell trade has not worked as he does not look very good. Trey McBride's probably Bill's most consistent great player. And if the tight end's your consistent great player, that's going to be a problem. Obviously, injuries also devastated Bill's team as he had Godwin. Had other guys that look good. So we'll see what Bill does moving forward. He has a big matchup this upcoming week with Zombie. So we'll see if he can somehow pull it out. On Pusa's side, we ripped him for the 2 Tampa Bay running backs, but it was better than the 2 Tennessee running backs as Bucky Irving had a monster game. Obviously, Jamar Chase and Hurts did their normal things. Adams got a touchdown, looked good with 12 targets, so maybe that's trending up in the right direction. Tucker Kraft had an okay game. Really, Pollard and A.J. Brown were his biggest downers, and they still both got almost 10 points. So very solid. Pusa 8-5 has a chance at that bye, so we'll see if he can get it this upcoming week. Good performance from his team. He's obviously one of the teams that is a guy to watch out for in the playoffs with this team. We will see, though, how it all shakes out. Pusa, your comments after beating Bill last week.
I just want to thank Bill for the hard-earned effort. Good luck next year because you are not making the playoffs.
Oof, okay.
I really appreciate the win here.
All right, interesting. I'll ask the same question to everybody else. Who is anybody worried about Pusa's team in the playoffs? Zach's not? Okay.
To be honest, I think the top 4 teams in the standings this year are the best 4 teams, which is not always the case.
All
But
right.
I think me, Pusa, Zach, and Pook have the strongest teams.
Okay, so you are worried a little bit about playing Pusa.
If I had to play anybody, it'd be a tough. I think anybody else, in the playoffs can always pop off in any given week. But I do think there's no Mickey Mouse. Someone got lucky.
Well, if you play Bill in the playoffs, it might be. But
I'm just saying to get to this point so far, I have my little Spain schedule analysis.
Okay, we'll do that later.
I
All
think
right, Rat, are you
Pusa's
worried
a
about
very strong
Pusa's
team.
team in the playoffs?
I'm only scared of my boy Hurts and Brown.
Ooh.
Everybody else is dog shit.
Wow. All right.
His running backs are going to eventually fall and crumble.
I am seeing a lot of Bucky Irving names. I don't know where that started, but a lot of people are saying Bucky Irving is the GOAT.
He had a huge game. Looked good.
I do like Pollard, though. Pollard's a sleeper.
Yeah. All right, so looking then at the standings after last week, heading into the final week of the season, this is a tight standing board. Usually by now, there's like 1 or 2 teams at 9 or 10 wins that have the chance for the bye. This year, it's the opposite. We have 4 teams at 8-5, all tied for first and all having a chance at the bye. Cheese, Pusa, Zach, and Pook. Obviously, next week, Zach and Pook play each other, so that's going to mean one of them is definitely getting to 9. So
Unless
9
we
wins.
tie.
Well, unless you tie, yeah. But 9
be high.
wins is going to get
Let's
the
go tie.
bye. The question is who's going to get it out of those 4. Then we have Rat at 7-6, Bill at 7-6, Slaps as the final spot at 7-6, and then as you said, only one person on the outside with a chance to jump in and get in, and that's Zombie at 6-7. Everybody else is eliminated. So usually the last few years there's been about 3 or 4 teams on the outside looking in that have a chance to get in. This year it's pretty more cut and dry. Just one team is going to miss out of those people, but obviously 7-6 maybe could end up maybe everybody at 8 making the playoffs, but most likely 7 wins is going to get you in. We'll see. There could be one team at 7 wins that misses it, depending on how that Zombie Bill matchup shakes out. Then we have Ernie in 9th, me in 10th, Tyler in 11th, all at 5 and 8, and then Matt at 4 and 9. He is only a game back of all the 5 and 8s, but the big thing that hurts Matt is his points for is over 100 less than me and Tyler. So really not much of a sweat for last place between me or Tyler, even if we did lose next week. Unless Matt somehow puts up a monster week and we both put up shit weeks, then he could jump and leapfrog out of that final spot. So we will see. Looking at waivers this past week, obviously there was a couple big developments that caused some late fab spending. So if you did save some fab this year, it might have panned out for you as Cheese spends $57 to get Isaac Guerrero. Pook, I believe, had him at one point this season. He was picked up by a few people, I believe. Obviously, McCaffrey got hurt last week, and you should have heard Pusa giddy as a child because he had Jordan Mason on his team. So he was all happy thinking he's got an extra boost come playoffs with him. And then he also ends up on IR to now make Guerrero, who was a free agent, a big time.
Take a look at the bids, buddy.
Take a look at the bids.
I said this was a huge Cheese overpay, like I said.
It wasn't that big of an overpay, but it was one that he needed to do because he knew how much. Did Pusa have $45 left?
You can check because he didn't spend anything.
Did he put his whole budget on him?
He put his whole budget, yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely wanted him.
I put $1
He tried in the
over-
party. He tried in the party to act like, oh, it's just going to be a committee. There ain't going to be nothing.
That was
trying
me, buddy.
to get.
I said that.
Oh, I thought it was Pusa
I
too.
bid $1 over the max someone else had, which was Zach,
Well,
to ensure I got it.
That was good by you to do the math and figure that out.
And if we look at his history,
I didn't even
he
bid.
was dropped by Anthony the Rat on November 3rd.
Oh!
Well, that's because he didn't
He's
have
not going to
McCaffrey
do
anymore,
shit.
so. We'll see how much of a workload he gets. Obviously, he's like the only true healthy running back on the team. They
10
did
points.
add a practice squad
I will
guy.
take his 10
RB3.
points before he breaks his leg. Before he
RB3.
breaks his leg, I'll take
The only
10.
thing with Cheese, he could put him in a flex spot, but he's never starting him over
Yes, I am.
Chain or the Lions.
Oh, no, flex spot he's starting.
In a flex, possibly, but
This week, because I have buys.
yeah, well, of course this week.
Perfect.
but I'm saying this.
I wouldn't.
This
going
is going to go
forward-
one or two ways. He's either going to be a mediocre running back, or he's going to help you win the league this year.
here's
It's going one or two ways.
He's starting this week just because due to buys, but I have to see his performance before.
Yeah.
Here's
well,
the hard part,
luckily for
I
you,
think.
you get a week to see that with week
This
14.
this is going into the playoffs, so like he could have a good week this week. He puts him in, and he just drops like 2 points of
I
volume.
mean, he has
and
good
it's-
matchups.
Yeah,
He
but
has
the
good
matchups are
matchups.
good. The
15.
schedule
I know,
gets a
but-
little easier
Bears,
now.
Rams,
for-
Miami. Those are some good rounds.
Sometimes matchups don't worry about
Week
it.
17, absolutely not. But the
He's
rest
gonna
of the matchups
get-
are good.
He's gonna get some work. He's gonna get some work. They don't have anybody else besides
Yeah,
the
they
guy
had to
they
claim
called
somebody
up
on
practice
waivers.
squad.
He's
Yeah.
real.
And he has
Hey!
had a couple explosive plays this year. Like he had one in this past game where he ran it in for a touchdown.
Let's
He
talk
had a
about the
huge
true
long
49ers backup.
He had a
Jeffrey.
huge long run earlier in the season when he came in. So he has some explosiveness. He's not a bad player. So
Yep.
we'll see.
Israel Abedikandanda.
Slaps picks up Chris Rodriguez for $15. Not really
Who the fuck is
sure
that?
too much. I mean, Brian Robinson is not hurt at the moment, so I don't really know.
I mean, Eckler. but
Eckler's
is he-
out, but
mean,
it's
Nichols is
Brian
the backup,
Robinson's
yeah?
show. Yeah, I don't understand that much.
I mean,
Parker
This will last a week,
Washington
you know.
from a Rat for $7. Two other guys bid $0, but it's a Jacksonville wide receiver and Trevor Lawrence. is
New
now
wide
out.
receiver one in
Trevor
Jacksonville.
Lawrence is out. Good luck
look,
with
it's
that.
the
Brian
last week.
Thomas
I
is
think
tough.
this is when you spend your fabs. You still have it. There's nothing really worth.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's an overpay. Like I'm not shitting on him for putting $7. I'm just saying I don't think it moves the needle. Like the only guy that moved the needle this week was Guerrero, potentially. These other guys are all bench fillers that maybe do something. Rat also picked up McLaughlin, who looked really good this past week. Maybe he starts to take over the backfield. I don't know. They always go with the hot hand in Denver, and each week it seems to be a different running back that turns into the hot hand. Kenneth Gainwell for Bill.
Kenneth Walker's available. Ooh.
I mean, after a 6-point game, you never know. Tyler Bass, Pusa picks up
I'll
for
drop
kicker.
him really quick.
Will Rijkaard. So Cheese. Imagine that. Cheese changed kickers once.
No, okay.
So
Call for
I
it.
know the guy was
Parker
hurt.
is the
Now he's
backup.
not
He
hurt.
was.
I know.
I just swapped
I'm
him
just
out. It's the
saying.
same thing.
I'm just saying. I think you've changed kickers every week.
Okay, well, what do you want? No, I had
And then
Seibert
Bill
for like
gets. I
2
don't care
months.
anymore. It's a kicker. Brandon
Alright.
Cooks. Bill gets obviously the true kicker. The true used to be GOAT. Justin Tucker is now a free agent. I'm surprised nobody picked him up yet. They've seen how bad he's been this season, and they don't want him apparently. A lot of kickers being moved this year.
Whoa.
Zach made a move and picked up McPherson as his next kicker, and then realized he's hurt. So then he had to
Hate to
go
see
with
it.
Daniel Carson. Life after Tucker, not good for Zach.
Sad
Zach
time.
obviously got the other guy from the 49ers that was picked up off the practice squad. We'll see. You know,
I mean,
maybe
it's not a
Garendo
bad-
gets hurt, and then maybe this
Not
guy
a bad
becomes.
pickup.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not a bad pickup.
you want the second guy because apparently the running backs for
Yeah,
49ers
I'll take my
get hurt.
15 this week, and then when he dies, he can just go
Yeah,
straight back
so-
to the free agent.
And that was pretty much all the noteworthy moves for this week on the waivers. All right, looking ahead then to the all-important final week of the regular season, week 14. Obviously, some of these matchups are kind of just pointless, but then there's some that are big. Starting with my matchup versus Matt, obviously we're both eliminated, so we're not spending too much time on this. Like I said, the
Golfer
only
wins.
way that Matt gets out of the last place is if he beats me and then beats me by over like
Just-
106 points. So
Let's just say all
or he
three
beats
who's
me
getting
and then
last
Tyler
place.
loses and he outscores Tyler by like 104 points. So gonna be tough for Matt. He also has a lot of buys.
I'm
with
making a roster
Richardson,
change right
Henry.
now. Pretty big one.
So it's gonna be hard for him to score that huge game with all the buys to
Ready,
some of his
golfer?
best players.
On three, we all say who gets last place. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Matt.
Matt. Okay. All
Look,
right.
golf-
He could maybe beat me with
No,
how
he
my
can't.
team's been
Matt,
performing.
I would
but
bet-
he's
Move
still
on,
getting
buddy.
last.
Matt
He's
will
still
not
getting
win.
last.
The Bears announced today that like basically all his Bears players are hurt somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, he
Um,
might have trouble.
He has no tight end to play at the moment. And he has no
He's gonna
kicker.
need yes. Matt, if you somehow do listen to this at some point, you are good now
Pusa
to
just
pick
picked
up
up,
a tight end
Pusa just picked up a tight end and be an asshole.
and a kicker. You
Wow,
need to
that's
do
fun.
that,
No, we're
even
all
though
picking up everybody.
even
All right,
though we're both
I'll
eliminated.
drop
You
somebody.
still need to just pick up
Look,
those infielders.
Matt,
Why
you know,
can't I
you
pick
tried.
up a tight end?
Huh? What? Jeez.
Matt, it's over, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he did what
He's
he
last
he
week
won
he
a couple
surged.
games. He
Yeah, he
won a couple
surged.
games down the stretch here, but not
He
enough.
did, but he's got buys and injuries. It's
Yeah,
just
not
you know,
enough.
maybe next year, buddy.
All right, we're gonna save the good matchups for last. So let's go down here to Ernie versus Tyler.
The ego
As
bowl.
both these teams are eliminated, they really
The Ego
both
Bowl.
have nothing to play for.
If Ernie finishes below Tyler, you think he kills himself?
He has talked shit to Tyler this year earlier in the season.
Do we
So
have to even cover this game?
I
Could
would
we
like to
just skip this
see I
game?
would like to see Tyler beat him just so I could see Tyler talk some shit. Because earlier this season, Ernie was talking shit to Tyler about how
What this
far
game?
down
This
there he
game.
was.
Can we just skip this part?
We're
I mean,
going
this
to,
is
Pusa.
well-
We're not going to spend that much time. I'm not going to go through
Hold
all
on,
the
I'm
players.
not listening to this. I would like to say tie, and I'll be right
Okay,
back. Tie.
all right.
Ernie
Thank you
benched
very much.
Kyle Pitts. It only took him a month.
When he's out, yeah. He's going with the other
What a
Travis
joke.
Kelce.
Tyler will
These
win
two
this
are
game.
embarrassment.
Tyler
will
win,
win.
wow.
You guys.
Ernie. if
Ernie's
Ernie
not
was
an
in-
embarrassment, Pusa. He has a very good points
He
for it.
needs to be
just
starting
got
Tua.
unfortunate.
I don't know why you're not starting Tua.
Okay, all right. We're not going to give meaningless teams
I'm just saying.
this. They're eliminated. So we'll see with that. Like I said,
Ernie
the
is
only
not
reason I'd
taking
say
me
it
for
is if
Saquon.
Tyler
What a
lost.
joke.
If Tyler lost to Ernie and he like only scored like 50 points or 60 points, and then Matt somehow scored like 150 or 160, then Tyler would have to worry about last place.
What a joke.
I don't see Ernie thanking me for Saquon these days.
I mean, Saquon was by far his MVP of his team.
It
And
wasn't
helped
Thank
him
you for
enough, though.
come back,
Saquon.
Wasn't
but
enough.
when you have
I'm
horrible
thanking you.
wide receivers besides Lad McConkey, it doesn't matter what Saquon does on most weeks. And you get
Well, yeah.
unfortunate with some weeks where he should have won with high points and he got unlucky and faced the win
All
too.
right.
Let me say something though. Ernie could bench his whole starting lineup, and Matt still won't get to fucking total points.
Well, it
So
doesn't
Ernie
matter.
can
It doesn't
have
matter
fun.
about Ernie.
Give
It
Tyler
matters
the
about
win.
Tyler,
True.
not Ernie. Ernie has no way. He's like 200 points ahead of Matt. Doesn't matter.
Bench your whole lineup.
So Tyler,
with fire,
Tyler and
buddy.
me are the only ones that had a small
Play with
chance
fire,
of getting
Ernie.
last, and it's small. All right. Moving on then to the next matchup, we will go with two teams that are already in the playoffs, Cheese and Rat. Basically, there is a
Yeah.
crazy scenario where he doesn't make it, but it's very, very unlikely. Cheese looking to get that bye though, so it is a big matchup from that standpoint. Cheese will be trying to win it to try to get him the bye, and he'll want to score a decent amount of points because he can't. If he
I
wins,
just need to
it's not
outscore
good
Pusa
enough.
by 10 points.
Well, I mean,
Just.
you're ahead of him in points for him,
Insane.
so you don't even have to outscore him by 10 points. You just have
Or
to
he
match.
has to outscore me by
yeah,
10
you
points.
just have to match his score. So
Yes, he has to outscore me by actually
you don't
15.
have to outscore him by anything.
He has to outscore me by
you.
15. By 15.
Yes. But you have to win. If
I have to
if
win
you don't
and be
win,
within
if
15
you
of
or
him.
Pusa don't win, you have no chance. It doesn't matter
If
what
we
you
don't
score.
win, Pook
So-
will be getting that bye. And I'll be pissed.
Well, wow. Already just assuming. Okay.
Who's gonna win this
We'll
week?
see. Cheese has a big Thursday night upcoming with half of his frickin' lineup. Jordan Love, both Lions boys, all playing tomorrow night in that big matchup between the Packers and Lions. That will be a fun game to watch. He's got Achane, obviously Garendo in the other flex this week, so we'll see what he gets out of Chicago. Kittle, DK, and Shakir. On Rat's side, Allen, Connor, Walker. Big game between Seattle and Arizona in that division. T. Higgins on Monday night against Dallas in case it comes down to it. See if Amari Cooper can bounce back against the Rams. Brock Bowers against Tampa Bay should be pretty good. Jalen Warren in there. He's had a couple okay weeks getting like 10 plus points, so not a horrible flex option with buys. And then Devontae Smith currently in there. Rat was saying earlier he's not even going to play him. Are you not going to play him?
I'm playing him. I was
You're
sure.
going to play him? You said
he'll
you're
give me
PJ
10
Washington, so.
Oh,
Okay. I mean, it's Carolina. It's a pretty good matchup for Devontae Smith. All right. Well, Cheese has had Rat's number recently, including last year in the playoffs. So, Rat, are you going to end Cheese's chances at a bye?
look, Cheese's only big win against me is the playoffs. Doesn't count. I'm 2-1 in the regular season. This is where I go 3-1.
Okay. Did you
And
beat him
then-
the first time around this
And
year?
then
No, he didn't. I
Okay.
destroyed
So
him.
he's going for the sweep.
Oh.
Okay.
Didn't I beat you?
I beat you 124 to 98.
Oh, well,
Okay.
this time you're not winning. And I'll come into the playoffs and I'll beat you again.
Wow.
getting two
so
straight
you're
wins. I'm
already
getting
you want to
back-to-back
face him
weeks.
again in the
Back-to-back
playoffs.
weeks
Look,
I'm beating you.
Very interesting.
I'm worried about
Okay.
Bowers. I am not worried about
Everybody is.
Amari Cooper. I think the biggest issues I looked at him, DK and Ken Walker, both Seahawks boys, are banged up.
Okay.
Dude,
So
it's
we'll
Wednesday.
see.
Jesus
I'm just
Christ.
saying they're banged. It's
You
so
win your
important to
fucking
know.
injury reports every day.
Yeah, he
God
thinks he's
damn, like,
Chow
are
or
you the
something.
doctor, buddy?
You stupid
Buddy.
fucking Chow.
Buddy.
God damn.
All I'm saying is,
I
Reds
mean,
Thanks,
you're
Chad.
talking about his Seattle boys, but your Seattle boys also banged
I
up.
said I was saying
Interesting.
both. I was
Oh.
saying DK. All I'm saying is I have a
Okay.
sub. Rat doesn't have a sub, so I don't know who he would get to
Okay.
play.
Yeah,
And
Amari
Okay, so
Cooper
you're
will
picking
be the
yourself to
top
win.
scorer this week.
No, I'm picking myself. Garendo
Okay.
is going to have a great first week. Chicago's defense sucks.
Okay.
Kittle and Garendo will be great. I think
Interesting.
I was saying that Thursday night I need to be ahead by at least 50. At least.
50. Wow. Okay.
Well, 50 implies 20 from Gibbs, 15 from Monty, and at
You
least
greedy
15
bitch.
from Love,
Okay.
which I don't think is that
You should
greedy,
be
to
happy
be
with
honest.
25.
I
Um,
mean,
I
yeah,
think that's pretty.
that's-
That's like the
I
bare
mean,
minimum.
but
I
if
need.
they let's say they combine for 25 like they did last
Then
week,
I won't be
then
happy.
you would need 25 from Love.
Then I would
so
need a
that's
big,
a little bit of a
big
stretch.
Loves game.
All right, so you want to be
So-
up by 50 after tomorrow night. Rat doesn't have a Thursday night player, so
You know what I'm
Alright.
glad about, though?
Yep.
Nico getting rest and not having to play the final week before the fantasy playoffs.
okay. I'm sure he's resting up for your fantasy team, Rat.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pook's here. Pook's here. Let's get Pook's opinion.
All right.
Who's
Let's
winning?
see. Oh, I was gonna go.
Buddy, let
to
golfer
Pusa
run the show,
first.
you stupid fucking
Pusa, who's winning this matchup?
It's going to be very close. I see it less than a 10-point game.
Okay.
I think Cheese is going to squeeze out a victory.
Really?
but,
I thought you'd be rooting biasly hard for Rat and pick Rat.
Oh, I am biasly
Oh.
hard for that, but I don't think it's gonna
Whoa.
Whoa.
No, no homo after that.
Okay, interesting.
Jesus.
But you don't think he's gonna get it done? Wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna matter at all.
Zach,
Who are the matchups?
it's Cheese versus Rat.
Jesus Christ. Zach doesn't deserve to get in the playoffs after this.
You know what? After the comments I just heard, I will be going with Fake Rat.
Zach,
Okay.
am I gonna go out sad like Tucker?
Golfer, we may have to hold off on these rankings. We
No,
might have
they're
to make a
already made,
change.
buddy. They're already made.
Tucker
We
better be
might have to make a
last.
I'm
late
not
trade.
changing them right before. They're already made. All right, Pook, are you here?
Pook messaged me he can't talk.
So then
Okay,
why the
then
fuck
I'll
is he
speak for
here?
Pook. Message me. What do you want to say, Pook?
Where is Zombie? He said he was gonna be here at 9.
He
Send me
probably meant a
comments,
little
Pook.
after.
Who's making that noise in the stream?
It's Discord, buddy. Send me comments, Pook.
Okay,
I'll
we're
read
not
them.
gonna wait.
All
I
right,
can
well, if
read
he
them
sends
if
them,
he
I'll
sends
read
them.
them.
All right, moving on to the next matchup, a battle of two teams that are already in the playoffs, but it does have a bye complication if they can get things going the right way. Pook versus Zach in battle of 8 and 5s for playoff seeding and for bye seeding potentially. Although Zach is a little bit on a bye, at the moment he's projected to beat Pook though. Does Pook have a full lineup in there? He does. So they both have some bye issues. It looks like. Pook got Darnold against Atlanta, Jacobs tomorrow night to get him started against Detroit, Bijan against Minnesota, Hopkins against the Chargers on Sunday night, Jefferson against Atlanta. Laporta. So he has got 2 Thursday night players as well. So big Thursday night game for a lot of fantasy teams. Ferguson, assuming if he plays, does he have a backup option? Dissy but that's Sunday where Ferguson's on Monday. So interesting. We'll see what Pook does there. I'm sure he's waiting for more news on if Ferguson's good to go. Westbrook Akine in there against Jacksonville. He's been popping off recently, so we'll see if he can put in another good game against Jacksonville. And Moody against Chicago. On Zach's side, Russell Wilson against Cleveland. He had a monster game last week, although he had a horrible game against Cleveland 2 weeks ago. So we'll see which one shows up if he can play better than he did a couple weeks ago. Interesting. Chase Brown on Monday night, so they both got Monday night players. Nick Chubb in there after his huge receiving touchdown this past week for me and JV. Go on, Nick Chubb. Great job, lad. Keep it up. Need you again this week against Pittsburgh. Tough defense, but he did have a good game 2 weeks ago against Pittsburgh. Tyreek Hill against the Jets. Jamison Williams in there on Thursday, so they both got Thursday night players. Kelsey on Sunday, so they both have Sunday night player as well. Hubbard against the Eagles, and Judy, the 40-point man, against Pittsburgh. I don't think he'll come close to 40 this week.
Jerry Judy.
And then the
Golfer is a
new
hater.
kicker for the Zach, Daniel Carlson, who's been missing quite a few kicks this year as well, so I don't know if that's
Wow, golfer.
gonna
He's
be
an
the
Auburn boy. He's
answer.
back.
Yeah, but he's been
back.
missing a lot like Tucker this year. And the Raiders don't particularly do good on offense. All right. I'm going to take Pook. I think Zach's buys this week just
Wow,
hurt him a
fuck
little
off.
bit. Zach, I am rooting for you to go all the way in the playoffs. But I just don't think this week that with, no Lemar, who else don't you have? No Sutton,
Jonathan
no
Taylor.
Taylor. I mean, that's some of your big time players. And
I got you, Zach. I know.
All right, Rat,
funny.
who's winning?
I got Zach by 72 points.
72. Wow.
This Westbrook Ferguson is just a dog shit combo. They're putting up about 5 points combined.
Okay.
Laporta's gonna have a bad game tomorrow, and a sad time before the playoffs. But Josh Jacobs towards his ACL.
Oh my God, you're rooting for
Wow.
injury on other people's
Oh.
players. That's a bad omen for you.
I'm just
Oh,
saying
boy.
it's sad times.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
I have a message from Pook.
Oh
He
God.
said,
Okay.
I ain't losing versus Zach, and Zombie ain't
Okay.
making the playoffs.
Oh,
wow.
hot take there. All right, we
Hot
like
take.
that. We
I
like that.
think Pook will win this week because he has a lot better matchups. I don't like a lot of Zach's matchups.
Okay.
Fuck
Pittsburgh, even the Jets defense, even though the Jets suck, their defense is decent. Chargers defense is good. Eagles defense is good. A lot of tough matchups there. And I think Jefferson's going to eat against Atlanta, and
Okay.
so will Darnold Trump.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Zach, are you gonna beat Pook this week and go into the playoffs on
Nope,
a strong
buddy.
note?
I'm resting my players this
Okay.
week.
All right.
Resting the
Oh,
starters,
Pook said
getting the
Rat's a
bench
bitch.
players some
Okay.
some good reps, and then the starters come back fully rested and ready to fire in the playoffs.
All right, I like it. Okay, Pusa, who's winning this matchup?
In a close one, Cook's gonna win by 10. I'm
Fine,
gonna say.
Okay.
Zach just doesn't have the firepower.
For this week? Wait, overall or just for this week because of his buys?
I like T said I rank him fourth.
Okay, interesting. All right, let's see here. Moving on then to the two big time matchups of this week for playoff
you hear that, Zach?
potential.
Big time.
Starting
Big
with
time.
Slaps versus Pusa. This matchup couldn't be any more fitting for week 14, as Pusa obviously has been one of Slaps' biggest critics all season long, and Slaps, with his huge resurgence, has a chance to complete his comeback and get into the playoffs with a win this week against his arch rival Pusa. So a huge battle here between these two. At the moment, Sleeper has Pusa with an edge, 125 to 120, but close. Pusa has Hurts against Carolina, great matchup. Just got to worry about the Eagles doing too good. Rashad White against the Raiders, also a good matchup. So he's sticking with the two Tampa Bay running backs after it worked this past week. We'll see what Bucky Irving does after his monster game against the Raiders as well. Jamar Chase on Monday night, so Slaps might have to sweat that come Monday night. Devontae Adams against Miami. Tucker Kraft tomorrow night to get him started. Tony Pollard against Jacksonville should be pretty decent. A.J. Brown against Carolina as well. And Bass against the Rams. On Slaps aside, Joe Burrow on Monday night. So he does also have a Monday night player throwing to Chase to maybe negate some of the points. We'll see what happens. Rico Dotto on Monday night. So this matchup could come down to Monday night. Kyron Williams against Buffalo, who had a nice game last week, but Buffalo's a pretty tough team. We'll see. Pickens against Cleveland should be okay. Reed tomorrow night, so they both have Thursday night player as well. Hawkinson against Atlanta. Keenan Allen against San Fran. Jennings still in there against Chicago. And Koo against Minnesota. Interesting. Looking, he's still benching Najee again, even though he had that huge week. I thought for sure after getting the huge week last week he would be starting Najee this week because that's usually how Slaps rolls. But so some interesting choices there. I'm surprised he's sticking with Jennings over Najee, to be honest. But I really hope Slaps wins. Just to complete the comeback, get in the playoffs against Pusa as well. Shut up Pusa a little bit. I know Pusa wants to beat Slaps bad. I hope Slaps wins, but I'm going to take Pusa. I think his matchups are just better, and I think he'll pull out the dub by about 10 to 15. But I think Slaps will have a decent week and still might get in the playoffs off that. Cheese, who's winning this matchup?
I feel the same way. I would like Slaps to win.
Yep.
I just think that Keenan Allen and Jawan Jennings, this is not their week.
Okay.
I would be definitely starting Najee. And I think Pusa's got solid matchups. Actually, some really good matchups, actually.
Yep.
Actually, his whole team plays shitters outside of Tucker Kraft. So I think Pusa's just going to put up a big week, which is going to be annoying for me, but I think Pusa's going to win quite easily.
Okay. Rat?
Slaps. You had 6 wins in a row. Your comeback story is on the loop. Pusa is going to take him behind the shed
Wow.
and win about
Man, just continue.
85 points.
I'm going to change my pick. I'm changing my pick to Slaps because every week people shit on Slaps
You
for
know
the
what's
past
gonna happen?
2 months,
Hold on,
and he
hold
just
on.
comes
Wow.
back and wins. So
Slaps
Rat
is
saying
gonna
he's going to get
score
raped.
a lot of points, right? Slaps is gonna put up points,
Okay, so then
but
how
he's
is he
gonna
get
fall
raped?
1 point short of the playoffs. 1 point short. 1 point. Bill is gonna
Probably-
outscore him by 1 point.
But he's going to score a lot of points. Have
Yeah,
you seen
well,
Bill's
yeah.
lineup?
It's gonna be like 190 to 125.
Okay, buddy, relax.
Okay. Well, when we go over Bill's matchup here, I want you to go break it down on how Bill's getting
Oh, I will.
190.
I
Okay.
will.
All right, so you're taking Pusa to win.
Is it my turn yet, buddy?
Yes.
All right, Zach, go ahead.
Both these teams are fucking frauds. They both deserve to lose.
Oh, wow.
And it's a shame that one or both of them
Oh,
has
that
to go
too.
into the playoffs. I will be predicting this matchup for a tie.
Oh, okay. All right, interesting.
Both those teams are frauds.
All right, a tie would
Dog
be good enough for Slaps to get in. So
No, what it?
yes, it would, because Zombie would be 7-7, and Slaps would be 7-6-1. 7-6-1 is better than 7-7. It's the best Zombie can do is
I mean,
7-7, even if Zombie wins.
go Bill.
All right. Did I miss it? Oh, Pusa, obviously. Pusa, I'm assuming you're going to be beating Slaps.
I'm going to beat Slaps
Move
Okay.
along. He said enough.
by 40 points.
By 40 points. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
So is your victory over him going to keep him out of the playoffs, or is he still going to get it?
No, unfortunately, he's still going to make it.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So you're not going to
Wow.
totally ruin his season like you would like.
Like I ruined Ernie's.
Yeah.
That's somebody else's job, but if
Okay.
he were to
Could be yours
perhaps
in the
get
playoffs.
past the first round of the playoffs and meet me in the second round, I would happily.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All
Rip
right.
him a
So
new
confident
asshole.
you're getting the bye. All right. Interesting.
Yep.
All righty.
If he's so happened to got to the second round, I would rip him a new asshole.
Oh.
Wow.
You said that a lot this year about Slaps, and he keeps on winning, so we'll see.
Slaps
Go on,
is an
Slaps.
embarrassment to this league.
Okay, that
It is
you
a-
can't
it is
say that
the
when he's
worst.
come all the way back and got 7-6.
He
Look
didn't
at
play me.
other people. Look
This
at
is an embarrassing
look-
lineup. I
look-
cannot believe
What?
that this
Wow.
it just
Pusa.
put
This
up
is the
over
worst-
140 points last week with this same
this is
lineup.
the worst team that will
Okay.
ever make the fantasy playoffs in the history of my
Have
league.
you seen
Whoa.
Bill's team? That's just not
Whoa.
true. And you
Bill
don't
is
even
not
believe
to make the playoffs.
that. Oh, okay.
But this team is
Whoa.
embarrassing. I cannot believe the rest of the league even sees this as like a cool thing. Like he is 7-6. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a fucking joke.
And you want to
Game
know
with
how
you
he got
all.
76? He started scoring a lot of points and beating teams that he shouldn't have beat.
I have schedule breakdowns for a couple players. We'll see, buddy. Relax.
It's
We
not
don't
like
care.
it's not like he won 6 straight, 90-80. He had some big weeks, quite a few to beat teams.
Let's
So-
Pusa, relax, buddy. You can
I
bitch
just
about the
your
scheduling.
disrespect is a
Whoa,
little
Pusa.
off on Slaps.
Also, can anybody like
think
when the
you know
Pusa win a ring? Was that real? Can be like was that even a real thing that happened?
It was way before I was in the league, so
So that's not real.
not
Doesn't
even
count then.
recognizable.
That's not real.
yeah.
It's recognized.
Not
And it was
recognized
he didn't even
by
win the
the
he
council.
didn't win the rig when Pete was commissioned when I was in the league. It was before that, so I don't even know.
Yeah, we don't know. Corruption happened.
I
back
think
then.
like maybe
Whoa.
what 4 or 5 people were in the league that are in the league now,
Buddy, I
Me,
won the
Poop,
league.
Zombie,
Zombie from that,
Pusa,
and Zach. That's
maybe
it.
Pook.
Yeah, it's not recognizable.
Tyler.
Maybe
Tyler
Bill
was
too.
definitely in it.
Bill and
Uh,
Tyler.
Okay. Well, nobody talks about it because it was that long ago and none of them remember.
And
apparently.
Matt too. Matt, I beat Matt in the
Yeah, I think
semifinal.
75% of the league.
Well, none of them
Yeah.
talk about it as
You
you having a
fucking-
ring, so
fucking
apparently they
asshole.
don't remember it.
I remember that shit, Pusa buddy.
So
That's
you
the year I
lost
made the
wait,
fucking
did you
final.
beat Zach in the final?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
to
our
be fair,
time.
we
I
don't
think
talk
so.
about Cheese's ring because we don't give a shit.
I beat
No,
the
it
guy who
wasn't
beat
you or
Bronco.
Tyler.
Except
It wasn't
last
you or
week.
Tyler. I think it was
Okay.
Tyler.
All right,
One person
moving
talks
on.
about it.
Moving on to the final matchup of Week 14, and it's the biggest matchup of the week, a playoff spot on the line between Bill and Zombie. Bill 7-6, but has a little bit of a points for problem against Zombie. So if Zombie wins, he all but guarantees that he could get in over Bill. So gonna be rough for Bill, especially with his bye issues in lineup, which we'll go over in a minute. It's gonna be a struggle for Bill. He's gonna need to say some prayers to the fantasy gods, but we'll hear Rat in a second. Right now, Sleeper has him projected for 88 points, yet Rat thinks he's gonna score 190 this week. So I can't wait to hear Rat break this down. Zombie
I said
120.
Pusa was scoring 190.
What? You said Bill.
I said Pusa was beating.
No, you said Bill was gonna outscore
Lemmy.
Slaps, and Slaps was
Yes.
gonna miss.
Yes, but
Yeah,
I
you said
said
190
Pusa was
to
scoring
180.
190.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Bill outscoring Slaps to
No.
get in.
No, I did say
Okay.
that. I'll run it down how it happens.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Anyways, Zombie heavy favorite. We'll see why here. Zombie starting Herbert against Kansas City on Sunday night. Brees Hall against Miami, Aaron Jones against Atlanta, Neighbors against the Saints, Drake London against Minnesota, Jonnu Smith against the Jets, Cooper Kupp against Buffalo, Thomas against Tennessee, who's had a nice season, and Decker on Sunday night as well. Then we get to Bill's side. He has to go with Aiden O'Connell against Tampa Bay.
Whoa.
Oh boy. Wait, why is he going with Aiden O'Connell? He has Kyler Murray. Surely he's going to change that, right?
He did say something in the
Huh?
chat today about he wasn't going to play Kyler.
Really? Okay. Interesting. I mean, I know Kyler's kind of been mid, but Aiden O'Connell could literally have like single digits. I mean, he had 19 last week, but he could literally have like 11.
Bill says, yes, I am benching Kyler at 121.
All right, that's a ballsy move by Bill. We'll see if it pays off. Madison against Tampa Bay. We'll see if he's healthy enough to go. Kenneth Gainwell against Carolina, the backup running back for Philly. Good luck with that.
Whoa.
Jacoby Myers. So I guess he's hoping for the Aiden O'Connell to Jacoby Myers for 3 touchdowns. We'll see. Elijah Moore after his big game last week. He's kind of overshadowed by Judy having 40, but he had a nice game as well with like 19. We'll see this week against Pittsburgh. We also got to keep an eye on the Cedric
I
Tillman.
revised my statement about
Yes.
Clemson's team.
Okay.
This is an embarrassment.
Trey
This is a
McBride against
joke.
Seattle. He's got Xavier Worthy back in there and K. Dotton, who
Holy
could have a nice bounce
Jesus,
back game.
This is horrible.
He's going to
I've
need
never
Worthy to
seen
have
this.
some deep touchdowns this week somehow on Sunday night. And Bates tomorrow night to get him started. Obviously, this season for Bill, you gotta give him credit. He's in this position. He had a lot of big time injuries to some of his big players. He has bye issues this week, which I mean, part of that you could have looked a little bit ahead and seen that all these guys were on bye. But I mean, he's been fighting to get wins to get in this position. I don't know about I'd love to hear Bill's reasoning for why he has no faith in Kyler Murray. It's a big game, Seattle versus Arizona. So I guess he thinks Seattle's defense is going to completely shut down Arizona. I don't see that. I would definitely go with Kyler, but we'll see what Bill's reasoning is on that. His team name is The Ohio State University, so I guess he's starting a trash quarterback in honor of how Will Howard played against Michigan, I guess. Maybe that's his whole reasoning for starting.
Well, for taking shots at his
Aiden
own
O'Connell. Yes, I admit my team played like dog shit against Michigan. I will admit that. But we'll see if Bill can be like The Ohio State University and still get into the playoffs, because we will still be in the playoffs. Obviously, I'm going to take Zombie in a blowout. It's all going to come down to the only reason I would start Kyler is it's more of a safe floor, and at this point, Bill, he's so close in points with slaps. I would probably take the safe floor to maybe just try to outdo slaps a little bit and stay ahead of him, assuming slaps loses to Busa. So going with O'Connell, it's like he could get you single digits and then cost you the points against slaps if slaps has a bad week. So interesting choice. We'll see what Bill does. But I'm taking Zombie. Cheese, who's winning this matchup?
I mean, like Zombie's whole team need to get hurt for him to lose, unfortunately.
Okay. Yep.
But we'll go over the playoff scenarios because I don't think a win auto guarantees him.
Yes,
Right.
it does.
Oh, it does? Okay,
Yes.
then Zombie's gonna get gifted in.
Yes. If Bill wins, he's at 8 wins. Zombie would be at 6 and 8. There's no way that obviously he could get beat. Zombie's the one team out of the playoffs at the moment. Slaps and Bill are in because they both have 7 wins. If Bill wins, he's in, and he also guarantees Slaps a spot as well, even if Slaps loses. But we'll go over those in a minute. All right, Rat, who's winning this matchup?
Zombie is destroying Bill, but Bill will keep his points or
Okay.
over slaps.
All right, even with
Do
this
you want me-
lineup, huh? Wow.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell
Yep.
is going to be the secret this week. The Eagles are going to be smart and use Barkley wisely so we don't overrun him. And Kenneth
Okay.
Gainwell is going to put up 15-plus fantasy points. So that's a start. Aiden O'Connell is going to give him about 15. Madison is going to come back in about 10.
What if
Kobe
Madison
Myers.
doesn't play? Then he's got to pick up another
He'll play.
running back.
Well, then pick up McCormick. He'll give you about 10 also.
Okay.
And then the same running back. Jacoby Myers, he's a safe floor for that 12 to 15 every week. He's a good wide
Lol.
receiver,
Okay.
but he is a good wide receiver. Elijah Moore, safe 10.
Lol.
Trey McBride, tight end, one this week. He's going to give you a 20.
Mm.
Xavier
Very
Worthy.
optimistic. All right.
Xavier Worthy is going to have a big reception against the Chargers on Sunday night against Zombies team. So that's
Okay.
another 15 points. And then Kate On's also going to have he's going to be a top tight end this week.
Okay, but all
Tight
this
end
adds
3.
up to you still picking Zombie?
Yes.
Lol.
Okay.
Yes.
So we just went through all that optimism where it
Yes.
sounded like you were going to
Yes.
set it all up to say I'm taking Bill, and then you still took
No,
Zombie.
Zombie's going to win like 150 to 117.
Oh, you're calling for a good week from Zombie. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Zombie will be
All
fine.
right. Is all this optimism for Bill getting in over Slaps because you'd rather face Bill's team in the playoffs
No,
over Slaps?
I think Bill is fine. Bill's going to surprise with the points for.
Okay. Interesting. All right, Pusa.
Lol. Go on, little guy.
In this particular game, I have Zombie winning by a whopping 40 points.
Alrighty. Zach?
Both these teams are dog shit. Both these teams deserve to be out of the playoffs. I don't know why we're even wasting our time with this matchup.
Because one of them will
They
be in
both
the playoffs.
suck.
We should put
Okay.
Ernie in.
It's gonna be Bill
Bill. Wow,
and
okay,
Zombie
Bill. All right.
and
Uh,
Zombie
Bill and Zombie. Okay.
in the playoffs.
So you're saying Zombie wins and then Bill scores enough to knock Slaps out. Okay.
Fuck that cunt.
All right, so there we have the Week 14s. As we said, let's get into the playoff scenarios real quick, and then we will get everyone's official who makes the playoff prediction. Pretty much everyone kind of already said, but we'll get it on the official record. So real quick, looking at starting with the bye situation, as I said, this is a year where 4 different people have a chance to get that number 1 bye. Cheese, I guess you could say, is in the driver's seat, but I mean, it's pretty close. He's not like just a win and he gets it. He needs to win versus Rat and a Pusa loss, assuming he keeps his big points for lead over the winner of Zach versus Pook, which he's up over 100 on both of them. So most likely, easiest way is he wins and Pusa loses and he gets the bye. If he does win and Pusa also wins, then he needs to keep his 15 points for lead over Pusa. So he's going to need to have a good scoring week this week. He cannot have a week like he had last week.
I think if I'm beating Rat, it's going to be a high scoring. It's a good matchup this week, so I don't
you're
think.
predicting
I think if I
yourself
win,
to
I'm
score a good amount. All
I
right.
think if I win, it'll be a good amount. I'm not
So
gonna win
that's
with the
something
Mickey
to
Mouse
watch
margin.
this week. If they both, if Cheese and Pusa both look like they're winning, then on that Sunday night and Monday night game, looking at how much are they winning, what are their point totals, because 15 is easily catchable for this week. So we'll see. Obviously, Pusa's pretty much the opposite. He just needs to win and have Cheese lose, assuming Pusa keeps his lead over the winner of Zach versus Pook, which is just under 100 points. So pretty big lead there for Pusa over Zach or Pook. So pretty much just needs Cheese to lose and him to win versus Slaps. Or if they both win, Pusa and Cheese both win, then Pusa needs to outscore Cheese this week by 15.03, and he would steal the bye from Cheese. Pusa, you feeling confident that you can catch those 15 points over Cheese?
Easily.
Easily. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, tomorrow will be a big determining factor with Cheese having all those huge players in that Lions game.
Yeah, I need a big game. I need
That
some
will be a big. If Cheese
scores
gets 60
tomorrow.
or 70 tomorrow night, then it's going to be an uphill battle. So, although
I need a big night
yeah.
tomorrow, and the Eagles to be shit.
All right.
Or
Then we get
rest
to the other
stories.
2 teams that have a chance at the bye that are a little more of a long shot. Zach can get the bye. He just needs to win against Pook and get losses by Cheese and Pusa both. If that happens, he would be at 9 wins. All 3 of them would be at 8, and he would get the bye. So Zach, you need to root hard for Slaps and Rat. And then
That's gonna be hard
take
for
care of
Zach.
business
Fuck
against Pook.
them.
The other option is he wins against Pook and outscores Cheese by 108 and Pusa by 93. So very
Ooh.
unlikely in that second scenario, but you never know.
Or ties.
Oh yeah, golf for the tie scenarios here.
I mean, you tie, you would still need
No,
them both
he
to
needs
lose.
me and Pusa both tie.
Oh, Yeah, 2
Oh.
ties in 1 week.
You never know, buddy.
Well, he would still have to win in that scenario.
Or Zach ties and me and Pusa both lose.
But these are the
Ooh.
common scenarios, not the ones that are a 1 in a million chance of happening. Putting the second one on here is almost a long stretch.
Whoa.
So, and then Pook is pretty much the opposite of Zach. He needs to win against Zach and get losses by Cheese and Pusa both. Or win against Zach and outscore Cheese by 111 and Pusa by 96. So pretty much long shots
Pook.
for
Yikes.
Zach and Pook, unless Cheese and Pusa both get upset. That's your easiest path. So you should be rooting, like I said, for slaps and Rat this
It
Okay.
could happen. It could
I'll
happen.
take
Okay,
2 or
take your
3 or 4.
Okay. Then we get into Rat. As I said, he's almost a lock to make the playoffs, but there is a scenario that he could miss, but it's pretty unlikely. If he wins against Cheese, obviously he's in. If Zombie loses, he's automatically in. So he doesn't even need to win necessarily if Zombie just loses, but we went over that Zombie Bill matchup. That doesn't look likely. If Bill loses and Rat keeps his points for lead over Bill, which is 86, so it's a pretty big margin. So it's looking pretty likely. So even if Zombie beats Bill and Rat loses, Rat would still have the tiebreaker over Bill by 86 points. So pretty much a lock for Rat to make it in. A fourth scenario would be if Slaps loses and he keeps his points for lead over Slaps, he could also get in that way. So Slaps would be out in that scenario. So he's got multiple different ways, and one of them's probably at least going to happen. So Rat is almost in, but not quite. If you somehow were out, Rat, it would be one of the biggest collapses in fantasy football because it would mean your team put up like a record low points and their teams put up huge.
I would have to
points.
beat Cheese's record.
Yes, yeah, you would probably have to break that record if you're going to lose these big points for leads somehow. Then we get into the teams that are kind of on the fringe of getting in. One of these next 3 teams will not make it. Bill makes the playoffs if he beats Zombie. Simple as that. All he's got to do is win against Zombie. That would knock Zombie out, and it would put Slaps and Bill both in, no matter what happened in Slaps' matchup. So Slaps should be rooting for Bill somehow, although we've seen Bill's match. What makes this more interesting is we saw Bill's lineup, so it doesn't look very likely that he's going to win against Zombie. So if he loses, then he needs Slaps to lose, and Bill keep his lead over Slaps by points of only 7. So it's very, very close between Slaps and Bill on the point standpoint, which could make it very interesting if Zombie wins and Slaps and Bill both lose. Then it's between Slaps and Bill on who's getting the final spot, and that points for margin is so close, it's going to be tight if that scenario plays out. The other option, like I said, is Rat loses and Bill outscores Rat by 86 points. Bill would get in at that point, but that's pretty unlikely. I think the second scenario is the one that's the thing that's going to be the one to look, because I think Bill's going to lose. It's just a matter of does Slaps lose and does Bill keep his slim lead on the points, which Rat seems optimism that he's going to, right, Rat?
Yes.
You think he's going to score more or
yes.
think he's going to score more than Slaps this week, or,
8
or
more
score
points.
equal to Slaps?
Slaps is missing by 1.
Lol.
Okay.
Whoa.
Interesting. Then we get into Slaps. As I said, he just needs to win against Pusa and he'd be in, or Bill beat Zombie, so Zombie lose and he would be in, so he can root for Bill this week. Or if Bill loses and Slaps lose, so they both lose, but he outscores Bill by 7 points, or basically 8 points, he would be in. So either way, so Slaps is in a decent position because he knows one of them's losing, either Bill or Zombie. He knows one of them's losing. Obviously, if Zombie loses, he's automatically in. But if Bill loses with that lineup, if Slaps just has a okay week and gets 120, 130, he probably edges Bill by the 8 points. So I'd rather be in Slaps' position over Bill, even though Rat has optimism for Bill. I like Slaps' position better between the two. Then we get into Zombie. His is really simple. He wins against Bill. With his points for, he's going to be in. He has a pretty big margin lead over Bill and Zombie. would obviously be beating Bill, which means he has more points this week than Bill. So he would get in. If Zombie loses, there's no way for him to get in. He would only be 6-8, and everybody else already has 7 wins. So there's no way he can get in on a loss. So he has to win. It's a must-win for Zombie. Pretty simple if he wants to get in. And then real quickly, just for Matt, as we already talked about, for Matt to avoid last place, he needs to beat me and outscore me by 106 points in the win, or he needs to beat me and have Tyler lose and outscore Tyler by 103. So very unlikely that Matt avoids last place, but there is a path. That being said, with all those scenarios, let's go through each person. Give me your 1 through 7 on who's going to make the playoffs. 1 meaning you
Okay.
get the bye.
I'll go first.
Okay,
Zach.
go ahead, Zach. Who's getting the
Zach, your
bye?
Bitcoin just hit 100K, by the way.
I need
Cheese, stop
ETH,
trying to
buddy.
sucker him up.
ETH. So Slaps misses out on the playoffs.
Buddy, start at 1 and go all the way down. Who's
Yeah,
getting the number 1
1,
seed?
don't care. Number 2, don't care. Number
Okay,
3,
then we're
doesn't
just
matter.
go to the next person then.
Yep.
Cheese.
Slaps
Cheese.
is missing.
Who's giving?
I am maintaining the bye, the
Of
big winner,
course.
Rat.
Okay.
I think that Gonzaga, no, Pusa. I think Pusa will maintain second place,
Okay.
and then I think.
So
Pook
you
jumps
basically think
ahead.
Pusa wins, but you think you just score equal
Yes,
to.
I think Pook jumps ahead,
Okay.
pushing Zach to fourth.
Okay.
Okay, now Rat. The issue is that Rat really can't fall out of fifth, because Bill's not winning. Actually, you know what?
He
I
could.
can't-
He
We'll
could
put
if
Slaps.
Zombie
We'll
wins.
put
Zombie's
Slaps.
points.
If
We'll put Slaps at fifth.
if Slaps
Slaps
can't
can get-
Slaps can't
Yeah,
get
8.
Oh
He
yeah,
gets
he
to
can
8.
with 8. Yeah.
We'll put Slaps at 5.
Okay, all
Rat at 6. Oh, because Zombie's gonna win too. So Rat
So
at
Rat
6.
could fall down to 7.
We'll put Rat at 6. Zombie in the last playoff spot, and we'll kick out Bill.
Zombie
How-
wouldn't.
that-
Zombie would.
Can Zombie not get the 7?
No, if Zombie
wait,
wins, he's
if-
above me.
yeah,
And Slap.
Zombie has about a 50-point
He would be in
lead
fifth.
over Rat.
Oh, okay,
Zombie has
so
a good
we'll-
chance to be fifth.
We'll put
he wins.
we'll put Slaps at 5th, then Zombie, then Rat. There you go.
Slaps can't be fifth either, buddy.
What 8? He
If
has
Zombie-
8.
Yeah,
If
he can.
well, yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
he'll
right.
win.
That's right.
Jesus.
That's
And
what
Bill's
we'll go
the
with.
man out. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
I got mine.
All right,
easily.
Rat.
It's gonna be my boy Pusa getting the bye.
Okay.
It's gonna be Cheese second.
Okay.
Wait, Cheese. It's
No.
gonna be sorry. It's
No,
gonna be
I'd be third if I lose.
okay.
I'm
Relax.
third.
It's gonna be Zach second. It's
Okay.
gonna be Cheese third because those points are
I can only
not
finish
even
in
close
first
to
or third.
Pook's.
I can only finish in first or third.
So there you go. Cheese
Yep.
third, Pook fourth,
Okay.
Zombie fifth, me sixth, and Bill
Okay.
seventh.
Who's
Bill's
third
seventh.
place play?
Okay.
Zach.
Your Rat is all in on that. That Bill's gonna outscore or
Yes.
keep his 7-point
mean-
lead over Slaps. All right.
Yeah.
Third place is gonna play one of. I could play Bill.
So I would
play Rat,
play.
Zombie.
I think I would play Cheese again if that holds up.
Yes, you would, because
Right.
Cheese would be 3 and you would be 6. Yep, and that's what you
Take
want.
Rat out in the
sounds like.
in the playoffs
That's his
again.
revenge.
Good luck, buddy.
All right. All right, Pusa.
Jesus Christ, this guy.
Obviously I'm getting the bye. I mean,
Okay.
no way that Cheese maintains that position.
So that would fall Cheese at 3.
Does the rest even matter?
Yes. So
Um,
the winner, who's winning? You said Pook's winning. So Pook would be, so you'd be 1, Pook would be 2, Cheese would be 3, Zach would be 4. Then,
If Zombie wins, he's fifth. I mean, there's not really.
yeah, I mean, if you think Zombies win, well, I
Bill,
mean, if you outscore him by
Slaps
50,
is making the playoffs.
Slaps is making it.
Yeah, Slaps will make the
So
playoffs.
Bill's going to be out then.
Yep, Bill's out. Mhm.
Okay. All right. I am going to go with similar to Cheese. I'm going to say he holds on and gets the bye. I'm praying because I don't want Pusa getting the bye with my bet. And then I'll say Pusa gets the 2nd seed. I'm going to say Pook is 3rd, Zach's 4th. I'm going to say that You know what? I'm gonna say Rat holds on to 5 because I think he's gonna score the 50 more than Zombie. I don't think Zombie's
Well,
gonna have that good of a week, but I think
could
Zombie's
be.
still gonna win. So that would mean I'm gonna put Zombie then at 6 and Slaps holds on at 7 because I do think Slaps will score the 7 more than Bill to get him in as the 7, even though I think Slaps loses this week.
So I would play Zach. Well,
Yep,
Wow, you're a
that's how
hater
I
for
think it's
Bill.
gonna go. But we will find out this upcoming week. All